Hello everyone, welcome back to channel again. So in this video we are going to learn basics of Substance Painter. Whenever you start, when you will open Substance Painter, you find difficulty, but after this video you will get all about Substance Painter, how you can start painting on your assets directly. So because the fundamentals are very important for any assets, for any software you need to work on. Fundamentals are very important. You have to very strong fundamentals because this is a base of your all realistic and high quality assets. So all right, just start with Substance better and try to understand their flow, their interface, their texturing method, their baking method, and all of it in all of big. So you're going to be able to start with basics, little more advanced, much advanced, higher level. You will go from this concept to a AAA level game. So this is a texturing tool for your game assets, for your game character, game anything. So let's start with the working slowly. Understand each and every tabs, concept, layers, interface, and step by step we will go further and learn more in depth of the Substance Painter. So basically the Substance is very standard tool that every AAA games, AAA studio are using. So to create a textures, and I know it's also use a lot of film studios, and the big difference between Substance Painter and other tools for texturing is like Madbox, because this Substance Painter is like a Photoshop. You can take example, their layering method, their menu, their interface are something close to the Photoshop, and we know we mostly use Photoshop more frequently. So the Substance Painter is very easy to learn, like it represent the various map, specular, and then maybe a reflection map, and all kind of maps we can bake in Substance itself. So let's take an example. We have this golden ball, golden sphere, and we have painted and some dirt on it, you can see right here. Now let's look at a little bit more into a main feature of Painter. So that basically the most important stuff in Substance Painter we are going to learn here. Here you can see we have our layers like Photoshop, and you remember, you guys probably use Photoshop every day. So from that perspective you will learn much closer, much better like Substance Painter. So these features are something like a Photoshop. That's why I'm going to create a new layer like a fill layer, and I'm going to delete all others. So I'll just create new fill layer, and over going down here I have some access to some parameters of my PBA materials, like I have my color channel that I can turn off and turn on, that have my eye channel, roughness channel, metal, normal, and so on. So let's go to the parameter of my fill layer, and first I fill my color to red, you can see, and then something my roughness. I also change the roughness being PBM and AR. We have reference from 0 to 1, you can see here. So being some reference to being something kind like a metallic effect. So all these parameters are very useful to create a generic and standard material for your assets. So let's move on to there, and now start with some variation in my roughness, you can see. So I think this reference is good that I paint a fill layer. So I can create also a paint layer, so which is basically another layer type. The main difference on this is each brush's stock you can paint on the basic of brush. So you take a brush and start painting on your surface directly. So this is the difference between paint layer and fill layer. So one stock to the stock, and I change my material from maybe here, you can see. and maybe my height here. So I just increase the height. You can see how useful and how effective these showing are. So I'm going to explain to a later all those key and I'm using right now, navigation and all. But first of all, you have to understand the basic fundamentals, how Substance Painter works, the main difference of materials, their types, and so let's moving on. And I'm just removing my material, and let's put maybe some normal and going to be here. You can see here. So it's something normal and some kind of height are showing on my material. So the main difference between the paint layer and a fill layer, this is a only difference between them. So I can at this point I change back to the fill layer and change my color to blue, and right you can do here. So I'm just managing and playing with my parameters like my metallic, roughness, and all. And now because we cannot do at a paint layer, so it's one brush stock and you are done. So those are very important stuff to remember about the paint layer. So the fill layer, and now I'm going to delete my paint layer, so and create another fill layer that I'm going to fill it with red one. And now, like in Photoshop, I'm going to use the mask to reveal those layer, because that's a fill layer. I mean, I can come here and I can add black mask and white mask in this case. So I'm going to add a black mask, and using my brush, you can see here. So I can just go in and paint directly on my mask. So it works like a masking, and I'm painting a white color. So I can move my slider to this back, and I'm going to obviously to erase, but I'm not really erasing, I'm just masking. So I can also press X key, which will allow me to swap between black and white. It's just a masking. You can see here on the panel of texture. So it's a preview of my shader and my material. Here it is a preview of my brush stock, and I have parameter here. So that's we are going to talk about in later, but allow me to change the size of brush and intensity. So here you can see here the stuff, this kind of stuff is very important to understand, because this is only fundamentals. Whenever you start with a character, the filling a different layers, different range, so this is very important, because when you understand this, how this masking and this kind of works, so this is very important. So I'm just navigating my screen here, you can see, which allow me the rotating the lights. So I'm going to tell you later now how I swap between different IBMs. So as for the mask, which I have been here, so one of the main features is disperser. So it obviously that is procedure. So I can add my point in time, select my mask and add the generator, and click any one of those points, and I already have this kind of parameter. I'm just changing. You can see we have add this generator and give a basically a texture look. So that is based on the maps that we are baked by the beginning. Each project, in the case of sample, those maps are already back. So let's look at what they look like, and first look at what these material. I'm going to press C key. C mean for channels, and right now I'm looking at my base color, and this is my height, and this is my roughness, and my metallic, and my normal. So my normal plus height for this mesh, and otherwise we are going to press B, which is going to show me a different channel that have been baked, like world space, normal ID, which don't have ambient occlusions, curvatures, positions, thickness. And actually I'm going to back to my regular view. So just press M for material, C for channel, M for material, and let's press B for back, and again M for material. Okay, so this is just basic keys to understand this. So let's do navigation and fairly. Let's learn how to navigate with your model. So and press middle mouse button, and it's going to allow me to shift up, down, right, left. You can see you can easily move your object by pressing middle mouse button. Press Alt right click is going to zoom in and zoom back, and Alt plus left click allow me to rotate the object, rotate the assets right here. So let's recap. C for channel, B for back to material, M for material, and shift right click, rotating. You can see I am moving my lighting setup. Shift right click for rotating the light shift, and Alt left mouse button, Alt middle mouse button, Alt right mouse button. You can navigate your object in Substacne Painter very freely. So since we are talking about viewport, let's make sure we remember that we have used the tab key. It allow me to give a bigger interface. You can see, just press a tab and it will capture your screen and give a full screen look. So we can use this right click button and we access different parameter here. So we are going to we use F1. Just press F1 for double views. We allow us to see 3D and 2D in a single screen. Press F2 to get into this UV structure. You can see this is our UV and 2D view. So we usually paint on this UV right here, and I come and I can add a paint layer. We can mask it, so we can work more efficiently on the 2D view, because in 3D we sometimes in a specific corner we cannot draw at a specific corner in 3D. So just go to the 2D view, press F2 and it will go to the 2D view, and you can easily manipulate and adjust the texturing, colors at every point of every corner of your object, every corner of your assets. So the key of navigation here, same right here, Alt middle mouse button, Alt right mouse button, Alt left mouse button, and so on. So navigation are same for 2D and 3D. So if you don't want to press the short key, so you can grab it from the interface here. You can see over on the top. So just going to the 2D and the 3D, and 2D and 3D, 2D only. So you get change the interface from the top right corner from. So the next step we want to look into this one perspective view and orthographic view. Photographic is going to be flat because that object is not perfectly aligned. It's not going to work, but what it can do to shift Alt left, you can see it's snapped to a 90-degree perfectly. So this is our perspective view. So I can rotate 90-degree all the time, but my object is not perfectly aligned. So the world is here. Since we are on the camera, so you get the free rotation in like this. So basically whenever I click on the world, it's going to be a pivot point of my camera, and concern rotation is the center of the object. So this is very important and useful. So I think at this point we can move to the next step. Before we do that, let's recap something. We are changing the channels of our models. M for material again, and press tab to fulfill your screen. The big interface, Alt left mouse button and Alt middle mouse button to pan, and right mouse button to rotate. So this kind of basic interface keys you have to learn. So let's move to the brushes, and before we go into the brushes, we need to make sure that we know where to grab the brushes. So from right here, I can double click here, look at my paint brush, and I have an alpha, and I can change my alpha to whatever I want there. Maybe I can grab this, so one from this, and change the different parameter. I can also start to play with this spacing, and you can see here I can maybe change the something more interesting on this brush. Let's grab this one and start painting on my sphere. Now as we can move on this planet, the different parameters, the size of jitter, flow jitter, the angle jitter, and the position jitter. So as we can do all that that little window, and we can save the brush, and we just go to the shelf here and look into the brush and whether they have to offer something like that. Obviously we can save our brush right now here, and I did select a new brush, and like this another brush. You can test each and every brush on this window. So there is a big brush library because I'm going to use this paint layer, and on the point of this you can also increase the different parameter like height, normal, skin, and this thing. You can see this gives us a really cool effect. So let's take them down. It is very interesting. So it's also the fact that it is resolution independent. Example, I go to my texture and setting this to I'm going back from here. So all this parameter you have to explore each and every option of this Substacne painter. So just go, because you have to spend time with it. If you want to learn anything, just spend time. Spend some time on software, every features, explore each and everything. This is the only way to learn fast. Not going to follow the instruction and try to learn following the YouTube tutorials. But the best way to learn fast is just explore everything. Explore each and every options. Explore each and every part of this software. Spend as much as time you want. More you time spend with anything, you will learn faster. So I recommend you just go each and every parameter, options, how they works, because everyone can learn, everyone can get a expertise in this Substacne painter or any software. It's just matter of your spending time, how much spend you want to, how much time you spend on the particular Substacne painter or anything. So I'm just using eraser. So if I paint it back right here, and I might also want to create a new layer and add paint, so then just paint it back like this. So it's just working on a masking perspective. So I come here and still we use eraser to going on a way, and I'm going to kill this like a Photoshop. So I'm just adding multiply, transfer mode. So all these features are similar to like a Photoshop. So you can see you can easily multiply with the two layers. So let's put it back to a normal. So when you use the painter thing, an item of the Photoshop, it's going to save your life. So it's super easy, and just ask yourself that how I do use Photoshop, and in 90 to the case. So I'm going to walk out of view, and I have this kind of button. So here I can paint here exactly like the Photoshop. Just take a brush and start painting on your model. Just use pen tab and start painting like a brush. And so this is a beauty of Substacne painter. So I'm going to copy and everything, you can see, and give a nice talk to our character and give a smooth surface and smooth blending between the roughness and going to shining surface on this. So this is my lower layer, and actually I can do it on the layer because my paint layer is on the generator, and that the brush stroke, and other one is based on the underlaying texture. So that are the part of this layering setup, and that's for the brush right now. Now the another way to work with is mask. So let's do another paint layer, add a layer, paint layer, and I can select actually my geometry. So go to this menu and select the geometry. So I can select the pair of triangles. So not every effectively, very slowly. So I can select polygons and little bit better. So I can also draw a dry cut right here. You can see I have selected the face, and meaning per object is going to be like your scene. It's going to be a polygon, so that physically attached to each other. But I can also select a pair of UV. So here is example. I'm going to back to white, and I can perfectly select that what I want, the pair of UV pieces, you can see. So I'm going to show you a little trick later when we change the back. So now the another important aspect of Substacne Painter is obviously the display feature, because let's have a very nice 𝐿𝐴. Here you can see I get some kind of glare going on. So I go to remember this kind of thing. So we have this display settings. So I can click here and bring them on screen, and I can first start to show my environment, and I can change it to something else like this now, or something completely different like this. You have very well so many options. So let's go to back and go to black and white. So this one is nice, or maybe something this like a Torco Studio. So I think this is even better. So I'm going to change the environment exposure, and I'm going to turn off the post effect and the shadow for you to see the difference. So you have my camera features, which I can also grab them down from here, environment settings and viewport settings. So here we can see I'm going to click on shadow and make them heavyweight intensity. So this one we don't see much opening, so we will have to choose another object. Let's a little bit more interesting here, like this shadow capacity. So you can see it's going to happen. So I can change my environment and environment exposure. So all these parameters are very important to give a realistic renders to your objects or to your assets, to your character, to your anything. So just access to a bunch of stuff here because it's kind of think. So this is a nice pair, but let's going to give a